We are live.
Yay! I am Old New Dude, and he is.
Richard York, Astra's trueborn son, and this is the Song of Ice and Fire Theory Hour, Lemongate.
A day late.
Lemongate a day late.
But on the bright side, my camera, for whatever it did Monday, is back to normal today, so yay.
Surprise Theory Hour. Heck yeah, says Tris. So we barely started on Lemongate.
The I don't know if we can call it spoilers or whatever, but the information coming from the Mad King.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's like the fact that they're willing to completely directly contradict things makes me a little bit hesitant to use too much of it. But it is interesting that they decided to make the prophecy say the third child was right, and so they're like, people are saying, oh, it's Rhaegar's third child. I'm like, no, it's actually Lyanna's third child. Hello, deck of cards. So I did find that part interesting, that they specifically wanted the prophecy to say that it had to be the third child of that to me was interesting. But the fact that they're deliberately changing so much of it to be the play is wild as fuck. I hate it. Anyway, yeah, but I do like the fact that they did that, and they never like the people on Twitter summarizing it say that it's implied that Brandon is with Ashara, but they specifically have Ned dance with Ashara, and they don't have necessarily anything explicit as to that. So that's deliberately ambiguous as to whether Ned or Brandon gets Ashara pregnant.
Okay, here's my take on all of it. I do not trust anything, even coming from George R. R. Martin himself.
Oh yeah,
until we have it in the books.
Oh, absolutely. There is something to be said for deliberately erasing Ashara Dane's role in the adaptations, because she represents Ashera as the Dione. See, Triplet Dragons episode 1.
There you go. I've never heard that.
Oh yeah, of course. Anyway, so it's because she does that. It's kind of it literally might be important to George to erase her as having a kid from the adaptations. So that way they're retelling the story without her role, which is an interesting thing for him to be doing given her symbolic meaning.
Oh man.
Yeah, and getting rid of John Connington is pretty crazy too. But having Robert show up
when the GM is going to be pissed to get rid of John Con. That's his favorite character.
Going to bed shortly, but popping in to say hi. Hope you're both doing well. Thank you. Good to see you. From what I read, Ashara and Elia were fucking everybody, and Arthur was gay. Poggy was not a womanizer, and Ned was a saint. Yeah. Well, like I said, they're deliberately changing some things in that, and not just the John Con removal. They changed Robert's role in the Trident and in the Saga of King's Landing. So it's like they're deliberately not giving us what really happened.
Well,
they're giving us what presents a better story for their purposes.
Well, I think that's another reason.
Debatable.
With the play, that George is having such a hard time writing Winds of Winter. How can he get another book out without revealing all his little golden dragon eggs? This plot line paying off. This plot line paying off. I mean, I know he's not going to do them all, but he's not going to give the game away in the next to last book. So he wants to keep stringing along.
He's going to give a bunch of it away in the next brand chapter, supposedly. So supposedly the next brand chapter, which they moved from the end of Dance to the beginning of Winds, supposedly that's a huge spoiler chapter. My guess is it's the marriage of Ned and Ashara, but that's just and as you say, that doesn't necessarily prove that John is Ned's.
If that's the case, all it proves is Ned married Ashara. That's it. That's all it proves.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Until George
absolutely.
puts it on the page, that's all it proves. I mean, as much as I would like, yay, thumbs up, man, we're right, then I can't.
No,
It's
I
the
agree.
same
And
reason I
so, wait, what
discount
else?
other people's theories. It's the
Yeah,
same.
I
I have
can't.
to discount my own until I see it.
I think it was Duran Durandon who said that I made some comments about how it's possible that Ned isn't married to a Chardane or something, and he goes, well, wait, even if R plus L equals J, Ned is still married to a Shara, isn't he? And I said, oh yeah, I'm sure he is. I'm just saying that it's possible that we're wrong. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I expect
But
that to be the case.
on that note, Ned marrying Ashara doesn't mean Ned's the father of her
I
baby.
know. No, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, Brandon can still
Yeah,
be the father of the baby. Ned marries Ashara to save
for
her
her
honor
honor.
and the
Yeah.
child's. So I mean, yeah. Like I said,
Although
just
it
because we
works,
see
it works much better as a parallel to Rob if in fact Ned is the one that has a child with the shark name.
that's if Rob's
If
Ned.
they,
No,
if
I'm just kidding.
oh
That's a big can of
no,
worms.
that's not
Come on now.
required for that at all.
Come on.
Anyway,
Well, I
so
mean,
I'm very happy
if you
to
stop and think
digress.
about it,
We do not need to
yeah,
make any progress on we're going to use Levengate as a launching off point and more of a feeding us to discuss things. So we are going for those we've been going through Mark G171's write up of Danny and fake Danny and Lemongate and so forth. But it's literally just a launching off point for us to spin off ideas and things.
no problem.
No. Anyway, so I'm perfectly happy to go chasing rabbits and talking about Rob's
Well,
parentage and
I
all that
mean,
stuff if you want.
well, I like that. Okay, look at it this way. All right. Remember I said there's a lot of wiggle room before Robert's Rebellion begins and the taking of Lyanna before the because we don't. All right, if Brandon is the father, we don't know when that happened. Ned's still in love with Ashara. I mean, it has to happen in King's Landing, but we don't know how long Brandon was in King's Landing in the Black Cells before Lord Rickon gets there, correct?
Oh, I don't know.
If Brandon's the father, then
Yeah,
it is
very true.
at an early point than when Ned would have been the father, supposedly. So she's showing, I think, by the time she gets to the sisters, because they knew that Ned left a bastard baby in her belly. And the way you know somebody has left a bastard baby in the belly is they're showing. So if it's
Maybe.
really,
Maybe. I think it's
I'm reading between the lines.
almost the opposite of what they're saying. I think what they're saying is that it was clear that he had slept with her, and that they were therefore certain that Ned would only have slept with one woman, and that it must have been that must be Jon Snow's mother and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but that doesn't work out for my theory though.
He couldn't. Elliot wasn't in King's Landing, so Ashara wasn't either. Why wasn't Elliot in King's Landing? When did Elliot come to King's Landing? Because she's in King's Landing when the mountain kills her.
Yeah, the Mad King
I'm
doesn't
not
let her
familiar
leave.
with. Yeah, I thought she was stuck there. I don't understand that.
I mean,
Why
George, like
was
George
Elliot not in
said,
King's Landing?
that Ashar's nail or feet weren't nailed to the floor. So the comings and goings of,
But not when Brandon is. Well, where is she then?
I think Dragonstone is the prevailing theory.
Oh, okay, maybe. When does she get summoned to King's Landing then?
Now that I don't remember. I
Anyway,
do remember.
I don't doubt that deck of cards has this better than we do because I don't remember the details. But since I Aries made her go to King's Landing later. Okay, like I said, I don't doubt that you have a grasp of that than I do.
Yeah, a point on deck of cards side. I kind of remember.
Kirsty.
Hey, Kirsty. I kind of remember hearing that. But George had made the comment that Ashar's feet weren't nailed to the floor. Why you dissing on my theory, man? But
Yeah. No, that's
well,
so anyway, the point is that doesn't matter because she
yeah,
represents the concept of she represents the concept of Jon Snow being trueborn and being the trueborn son of the wife of the wife of the father figure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if she's pregnant earlier, then that puts, let's say, for shits and giggles, a month before to 2 months before Robert's Rebellion. That means she's born.
Which could be a Harrenhal, which is sort of what's been implied by Barristan.
Right.
Now the parallel to Robb is better if in fact it's the consoling of Ned, by the woman he loves at the time that he finds out that the two people immediately adjacent to him in the line of succession, although in front of him instead of behind him, are Bran and Rick, right? And so that I like that parallel personally. So Dany and Jon are both born on the same day when the comet appeared. Well, of course, we don't actually think that Jon is born then, but we are open to the concept that there's a third baby born that day too. There's definitely so yes. So our prevailing interpretation, which again we realize that it's supposed to be ambiguous and that there's some question as to whether the Aegon born of the Tower of Joy or wherever the Aegon born of R plus L is Aegon or Jon, right? There's the play says so the play is definitely Jon is the only one born from at the Tower of Joy of Rhaegar and Lyanna. They're 9 months apart, or so said GRM. Right, but that's of course the official. That's of course that could be based on their official birthdays and not based upon their actual birthdays, because that George is sneaky, and you never know what exactly he's saying about that as to whether that's real and whether those birthdays are accurate and so forth, right? Because there's obviously some lying going on about some people's births there, right? Everybody can agree to that, I would hope.
Yeah, George is not. I mean, in the quote, it's believed that Jon was born around the time of the sack of King's Landing, and Dany is 8 to 9 months younger than Jon, or close enough.
We don't know their exact birth, but he tells us their approximate difference, but it's unclear whether that's their official difference or their actual difference, right? So, in fact, we just had that. We just had that, didn't we? In fact, yes, exactly. Wait, we did just have that, right? Where's that? That's in Mark G171's write-up. We can definitely go back up to that part, because that quote from George is in Mark G171's write-up of fake Dany.
Mm-hmm.
I almost said F Dany, but that makes it sound like I'm saying something else.
That's probably
I thought in the play Jon and Dany are born same day as the comet, and there's a third. Oh, in the play that could be true. That would make a lot of sense to try and okay, that could be true, right? And there's this huge emphasis on this idea that the third child in the play is the prince that was promised, right? And anyway, so you're referring to the play, right? Because Christy's probably heard us go over the triple Targaryen theory many times. So anyway, if we scroll back up, I scroll back up. I thought he had it. I thought he had the quote in here.
I'm not. I mean,
well, it's the concept of them being born under the comet. So they're being the comet the day that they're born, because people say that there was a comet with the birth of Rhaegar.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like the play or the leaks? Next deck of cards. I thought that I thought that there was this emphasis that the third child was the one that mattered, kind of thing was interesting. and it's deliberately trying to say that it's ambiguous whether it's John or Dan, right? Because they're both the third born. One in the play, one of them's the third born of Rhaegar, and one of them's the third born of Aerys, right?
So
Or at
they
least Rhaella.
confirm in the play that Danny is Ares' child.
In the play, John is the one born at the Tower of Joy, and Dany's the one being born of Rhaella. In the play.
Into play. Like I said, until it's the book, though.
No. That's what I'm saying. Is I don't think they're going to show us triplet Targaryens in the play. That's not going to happen.
No, no.
But they're hinting at it. They're hinting at this concept of the Aegon born at the Tower of Joy. Although they don't call him Aegon, they don't give a name. They don't have Lyanna naming him, and people are saying that that's the important thing. And I'm like, no, it's not. Lyanna probably doesn't care about naming the children. The play portrays the simultaneous conception of Jon by Rhaegar and Lyanna, and Daenerys by Aerys and Rhaella under the sign of the Red Comet. Okay, but it just makes Jon too important. Well, we think Jon's important. We just don't think he's important for having dragon genes. We think he's important for having Dane genes.
Sword of the morning.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And I don't think
that. I said before, I'll say it again. The old gods do not care that Torrhen Stark bent the knee to a Targaryen. The kings of winter are still the kings of winter in the old gods' eyes. And if Jon is the first trueborn son of House Stark, he's the king of winter.
And the play forgets that Jon Con exists, and the play forgets that forgets the injuries at the Trident as well. People are just fine. Robert,
oh yeah,
it's not
that Robert was with Ned.
Exactly.
No,
exactly. That's my point. It's like because they wanted to combine their disagreement over the killing of the children with the event of Ned showing up at King's Landing. They were trying to tie that in, so they had to change that in order to tie that in. So in order to condense the timeline and tie the events that they wanted to depict into the moment, they had to do that, right? So that's what I meant by they're telling the story again. Eliminating Jon Con and giving Oswell Jon Con's role doesn't do that to me. But anyway,
they saved an actor. That's all they did.
It's kind of funny that Preston and Carmine are recently talking about the fact that in these adaptations, if you are all of the gay characters have to be badasses, and so the implication of making like Arthur and Oswell be gay is, of course, because if Arthur Dane is the greatest knight of all time, he must be gay, right? So anyway,
is in the book.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's silly. It's a silly trope that has been created, at least by whether by George or by, because Jon was a good enough fighter that he literally wanted to take on Robert. Like he's a confident. Jon Con is a confident, good fighter. There's no question. And Loras is pretty good. He's not as good as his brother, and his brother's not gay, but he's pretty good.
His lance. I mean, he tells him that
he's better with the lance, right? And Garth's better with the sword. It's supposed to be a parallel with Jon and Robb.
If his brother,
I'm not saying he isn't. They specifically say he's almost as good. He's almost as good as his brother. They specifically say that. Right. But he knows his brother's better than him.
If one is Arthur and Sebastian and you put Jaime there, Garland is on tier 2. I would put Loras at the bottom of tier 2 or the top tier 3 as far as the knight, as far as his fighting skills. He's a badass for sure.
I mean,
you're breaking
Thoros is definitely really good, but where do you put Thoros?
Without a flaming sword or with a flaming sword? Because he uses the flaming sword.
As long as he doesn't have a flaming sword that's burned out. If he has a flaming sword that's burned out, obviously he's not good.
Yeah.
Elliot probably names and insults her to her face in the play. Kirsty said.
Yeah. What doesn't he make some
Smells
comment?
Dornish. Smells
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Dornish. Yeah, he doesn't.
yeah.
Does He does. He's definitely prejudiced against Dornish. Which
Yeah, I
and
mean,
yet,
then
he
why?
marries her. He marries the crown prince to the Dornish. Like it's because they have the title of princess. Like that's essentially it's the only way he could
Yeah,
make it.
princess worthy to marry a prince.
Yeah, that's the concept. But
Or
anyway,
is that the only way? Or is that the quickest way? What if he knew about Tywin rebuffing the offers from the House Martell and all that, and this was just his way of kind of digging that dagger in a little bit more towards Tywin by going to House Martell for his son's bride?
sorry. Um, but that is canon in the books too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what
I'm
I'm
talking
saying.
about
Yeah,
Mad King and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Mad King's of Peckerwood.
Yep, yep. Sorry. Sorry, I started the. I was still trying to figure out the bird thing and seeing if the quote was in here. I thought it was,
Mm.
but sorry, I got distracted. Anyway, where were we? Um, what did you ask me? Sorry.
I can't remember. When was
All right.
the comment?
Well, she said that it was when they were conceived,
Right,
which
right, right. I'm talking about in the story. Roughly when was the comment? Was it
I don't
9
think we've
months
had any
before?
reveal of it being.
Okay.
I don't think we have any reveal of a comet at the Tower of Joy at this point, or a comet of conception of them or anything in the
Okay.
canon. I don't think that's in the canon at this point.
Yeah.
There probably will be. There probably will be one either at conception or marriage or at or the Tower of Joy or something along those lines. They whitewashed Ares, didn't they?
In the play, I don't know.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. All right. Anyway,
Okay.
there was he did discuss the birthday thing, but I can't find the quote, so I'm not gonna look too hard.
I have to bring my
Um,
theory here, so I don't have access to.
yeah. Anyway, there's a pretty good. I mean, at some one point, like there's people had come up with a way to search the Suspect Martins with so there's a pretty good Suspect Martins search engine. It's basically just a custom Google search that feeds all the appropriate things to tell it I want to search this site for these things,
Oh,
kind of thing.
I'm gonna look that up.
I can probably find a link for you.
No problem.
Um,
Where we at?
should have it. We should have it up. So we started to do Lemongate. She remembers Sir Willem dimly, a great gray bear of a man, half blind. Yeah, we talked about this part, didn't we?
I believe so.
Half blind, roaring and bellowing orders from his sick bed. Servants had lived in terror of him, but he had always been kind to Danny. He called her little princess and sometimes my lady, and his hands were soft as old leather. He never left his bed, though, and the smell of sickness clung to him day and night, a hot, moist, sickly sweet odor. That was when they lived in Bravos, in the big house with the red door. Danny had her own room there with a lemon tree outside her window. After Sir Willem had died, the servants had stolen what little money they had left, and soon after they had been put out of the big house. Danny had cried when the red door closed behind them forever.
See, I think
Now,
that I agree with that. She's conflating two people with that because you get the my princess or little princess, my lady, sounds like two different people calling her two different things, and she's relying on her brother to name drop Sir Willem Derry.
yeah. In the play, he knew of rigorous plans to overthrow him, confronted him, and told him to kill him there and then. Yep. Laughed and called him a coward after he didn't. And sledged the prophecy, cited the prophecy, maybe? Anyway. Back to
How? I
3R.
mean, is the play?
The play is fine to discuss and what may or may not have been inspired from George
No,
and
I'm
so
talking about,
forth.
I mean, how are people react? I mean, are people enjoying the play?
people are going crazy about spoilers and things, which aren't really spoilers, considering, as I said, that they're deliberately doing what they think will tell a good story, like moving Robert's confrontation
Well,
with
I mean,
Ned
you do
to
the same thing with the show by leaving characters out. Once it's the butterfly effect.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm
Once you,
saying.
yeah, it's either 100% adaptation or it's not.
Yeah, it's
If
definitely
it's not,
not,
it's just
and so
different
so
degrees of.
it's but it is interesting to ask, well, what are they focused on? What do they think is important, and why are they doing that kind of thing, right? So they think John Conn's importance is, I guess, to be in love with Rhaegar. In their mind, this importance to the story. Which, okay, I mean, I think the Battle of the Bells is important to the story, but okay.
To some people, John Con is their substitute Stannis. Okay, I mean that's how certain people feel about John Con. Is the same way certain people feel Stannis.
Sure.
It kind of fulfills the same role, not exactly the same role, but I mean, but are is the play fan service?
The
Is it
play is an
giving the majority
adaptation
of
that's
people
with,
what they want?
probably. I mean, that's probably a lot of it. That's probably true.
Because if you come out with something that completely contradicts the majority of the people in the fandom, then because let's face it,
Well,
fandoms are toxic.
Howland slits the throat of Arthur Dane at the Tower of Joy, so he's not. I don't know if I'd call him non-existent in that case. And they do the Night of the Laughing Tree, so he's the motivation for that, right?
There's a how like almost non-existent in the
It
play.
can't be because then it revealed to see. Yeah. That's my point. It's deliberately not. It's deliberately more of. It's more about fan service than it is about being completely true to the original. Definitely, that's definitely true.
Right.
But I
Howland
do think it's
reads
trying to
the
emphasize
entirety of
some things.
Harrenhal unless any scene that has almost any Stark from the set where Howland Reed's getting beat up and Lyanna and all the rest of Stark. He tells his children what happens at Harrenhal, so he should be present at what happens at Harrenhal, right?
Sure, he's our narrator, so he ought to be a central figure
He's
there.
our first-hand
No,
narrator.
Fitzgerald has to leave certain plots and characters out. Yeah. And because they have to combine things. So let's say you're doing this and you didn't want to bring Val in because what the heck are you going to bring back Val in? All right, and you wanted to adapt this. So and you didn't, and you probably didn't want to bring Aegon in because he's not even to people familiar with Game of Thrones. He's not even a character either, right? So
that's
your
why they
goal.
get John Con.
So your
Because
goal.
Aegon's not a character.
Oh, yeah. And then the people are like, well, who is this guy? And yeah, he's not in the show either, right? So you take some of the central characters from the event who aren't characters in the show, and you get rid of them, right?
Mhm.
And then you still want to portray this concept of triplet Targaryens, born as the R plus L, with the third one being the princess that was promised. Okay, and you're wanting to do that. Let's say you're wanting to do that. So you say, okay, well, to the fans, John represents Aegon in the Tower of Joy. So you do John as Aegon in the Tower of Joy, and you do Dany, and you say that they're born at the same time, conceived at the same time, with so you're showing this concept that there's multiple people born there, rather than right, and you're emphasized that it's the third child that matters because Dany is the princess that was promised as the third child of R plus L triplet Targaryens.
All right.
Anyway, that's my take.
Yeah, like I said, until it happens in the books, and I'm still stuck on whether things have been changed because of reaction, or I don't know. At this
Well, he's
point,
definitely
I'm
found himself writing away from the ending of the show, he says, right? So
Mhm.
so that, which to me means that he may even be abandoning the, if I look back, I am lost seeds that are supposed to imply that Dany is going to be lost. And whether that means that she goes mad or whether that means that she loses her sense of self or how you want to interpret that, but it's supposed to have a
I,
payoff, right?
I think that in our current story that we've gotten so far on the page, that if I look back, I am lost. That goes to that I'm just a little girl. She loses that little girl.
Well, I think it goes to the Shakespeare quotes personally, but I mean, I do think that's what everybody says who doesn't want to believe that Danny was supposed to be going mad from the first book. They'll like, well, I never read Shakespeare, so I don't see it. Like,
yeah,
okay, but the Shakespeare references say that she's going mad.
I trust you when it comes to stuff like that because you're definitely more well read than I am for sure. But
well, it's mostly from reading other people's analysis of the Shakespeare quotes rather than Shakes
like
and Shakes and Thrones and
just like George does, you steal.
So it seems like the same comet. How long did the comet appear for? Yeah, that's a good question because the comet in the books does show up for quite a while, and comets really do often show up in the sky for many days. So, but I don't know if it's too realistic for it to be there for
visible for
6 months. Yeah, it could be. It could be. Maybe it could be 6 months. I don't know.
I lost my train of thought. It's me. You distracted me with Shakespeare. Oh yeah. I mean, because remember who you are. The dragons remember. I mean, what I was getting out of that last chapter and a lot of the stuff that's happened to her up to, especially with Quaithe, and Drogon's rejection of her type situation, is that if Danny had an astrological sign, it would be the same as mine, Gemini. There are two sides to her. There's the I'm tired, Queen of Marine, compromise, do what I got to do to please basically everybody, even though it's not everybody. But and then you got the Targaryen, fire and blood, ride my dragon. It's hard to she can't be both. If she's too far one way, Drogon don't want her, and if she's too far this way, everybody's like, "Oh, great, she's burning people and she's mad." So I think that if you look back to her loss, that's the way I took it was that the Queen of Marine, the I'm tired, I'm just a little girl. That side of her is getting burnt away. To especially facing up against the Dothraki here soon. The more Targaryen, the warrior queen, however you want to put it, I think that's the side we're going to see going forward when it comes to Danny.
So
8 months.
So well, I mean, she might be referring to the quote from George. The longest recorded time a comet was visible to the naked eye was 569 consecutive days. But to have that kind of orbit required a peak magnitude brightness of 0.0, which is to say, it was at its brightest, as bright as the faintest stars visible to the human eye. So saying it was 569 days, nobody would even notice.
No, the only way you know the comet is to see the tail.
This was in the 90s, by the way. Like,
okay,
I was unimpressed by a comet that was literally at its brightest, about as bright as the faintest stars visible to the human eye. It was Hale-Bopp. So that was in the 90s. I don't know about you, but I wasn't that impressed.
I don't even remember it, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Because it was only as bright as the faintest stars.
Yeah, but the only way you know a comet is the tail, right? For us sitting on the ground, especially in this time setting or what this period of technology and science, the only way a person knows is the tail.
Aegon had a comet for sure. It's why Rhaegar changed his mind. And Lyanna says she'll die when Rhaegar dies. They're connected magically. Huh, interesting.
I did not know that.
Of course, that didn't actually happen. It's considerably after Rhaegar dies.
Good bit.
The stars shine brightest north of the wall. Okay. So they shine brightest where civilization is the most distant in our world, but that's because we have so much artificial lights.
Depend on where we are and the sun is and where the comet is coming across, because to see the tail, it's the opposite of sunshine for the comet for us to see the tail, right?
Well, during autumn and winter, the north would be would be where you'd get the best views, right? During autumn and winter, you're going to be in the north. You're going to theoretically have the best views,
Okay.
right?
I don't know.
Anyway, just
Science was
common
not my
sense.
best subject.
Just common
English was my
sense.
second, not best.
My point is, my point is, during autumn and winter, the sun is on the other side, is on the tropic, the other tropic. So it's towards between the equator and the opposite tropic. So the north is the one that further north would be more away from the sun, right? Anyway,
I have no idea, man.
in theory. Now, without knowing anything about Bravos, the lemon tree outside Danny's room is nothing, and notably, Jerem avoids describing Bravos as having any characters at all go to Bravos for many books precisely because of this. Bravos cannot actually grow lemon trees, and it's the completely wrong climate to do so. Now, there are people who tell you that you can grow lemon trees in bad climates. This isn't true, that there's types of lemons that do this and so forth. But George has already confirmed Lemongate. Like the email that he sent was confirmed by his assistants to be genuine. And anyway,
That
that's
the lemon tree would pay off.
Well, he says that he can't tell or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I've got the quote that I definitely have saved, and not just the image. What you find if you Google it, you can find like an image of the email. But I transcribed it a long time ago, so I have it in my notes. After that, she had nothing to do but sit and yawn for a long while as Brusco and his sons pushed them through the pre-dawn gloom, winding down a confusion of small canals. They did look to be a rare one, crisp and clear and bright. Burgos only had 3 kinds of weather. Fog was bad, rain was worse, and freezing rain was worst. But every so often would come a morning when the dawn broke pink and blue and the air was sharp and salty. Those were the days that Cat loved best. Oh, there's a golden tree or something at Bravos. Do you know what I'm on about? I think you've mentioned this before, but I don't remember.
No, there's the golden heart tree in Summer Isles. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure Kirsty has talked about this, but I don't really remember the details. Bravos is. You haven't?
Oh,
I thought you had.
You look up golden.
You commented. I could have sworn she brought this up before. We did look through this.
You opened your third eye. You saw the future.
Could be.
I'm still upset that Ice of Firecrown hasn't happened again.
Gold tree. It's Arson Clash. I shouldn't have bothered searching Clash. It's giving me too much Clash stuff. So anyway, found it. Gilded tree with silver leaves in the gardens. Jolenel. All right. Well, anyway.
Well, gilded tree. That would be
a gilded tree. Yeah, that would be a tree covered with gold. Right? So she said that there's a gold tree in Bravos.
Okay. All right.
Bravos is, to put it kindly, a climate shithole. All it ever does is rain there and be foggy with only rare days of good weather. This is not at all the places where a southern citrus fruit grows. In fact, we're specifically told the citrus fruits are found in lower Essos, not Bravos, because Bravos is too far north. 7 hells, this place is damp, she heard her guard complain. I'm chilled to the bones. Where are the bloody orange trees? I always heard there were orange trees in the free cities, lemons and limes, pomegranates, hot peppers, warm nights, girls with bare bellies. Where are the bare-bellied girls, I ask you? Down in Liss and Murr and Old Valantis, the other guard replied. He was an older man, big-bellied and grizzled. I went to Liss with Lord Tywin once, when he was hand to Ares. Bravos is north of King's Landing, fool. Can't you read a bloody map?
Don't you think it's odd that he says lists first?
Who's that? Richard's psychic abilities. There's something to behold. He's already read Winds for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Kirsty, I'm not sure what that garden represents. Bravos is not only too far north and too foggy to grow lemon trees, they're too much of either to grow any trees at all except hardy pine trees. There's no more wood. Darian had paid the innkeep double for a room with a hearth. One of them had realized that wood would be so costly here. Trees did not grow in Bravos, save in the courts and gardens of the mighty, nor would the Bravosi cut the pines that covered the outlying islands around their great lagoon and acted as windbreaks to shield them from storms. Instead, firewood was brought in by barge, up the rivers and across the lagoon. Even dung was dear here. The Bravosi used boats in place of horses. None of that would have mattered if they had departed as planned for Old Town, but that had proved impossible with Maester Aemon so weak. Another voyage on the open sea would kill him. And people keep saying, see, it's in the Gardens of the Mighty. And it's like, yeah, that's not. Again, George has already confirmed this. One and two, and two, the being in the Gardens of the Mighty doesn't mean that you're protected from. And then they'll be like, well, maybe they're in a glass garden, and it's like, it's outside a window. It's not in a glass garden. The only trees we've ever been told that grow in Bravos are pine trees, which obviously are much hardier trees and perfectly capable of growing in a wet, damp, and cold environment, unlike a lemon tree. And not only that, when we follow the guardsman's talk that Bravos is too far north, we can indeed establish that there's a line of latitude where lemon trees do grow. The guardsman mentioned Lis, Myrrh, Volantis, but we also see marine grow lemon trees as well. Afterward, our Lord Husband led his guests onto the lower terrace so that visitors from the Yellow City might behold marine by night. Wine cups in hand, the young Ka'i wandered the garden in small groups beneath lemon trees and night-blooming flowers. And Danny found herself face to face with Brown Ben Plum. But rather notably, the one place that is again and again associated with lemon trees is Dorne, lemons. And this is a line that says that the Riverlands does not have lemons. Although it's also true that you have to send to Dorne if you're in the Vale to get lemons. Lemons? And where would you get lemons? Does this look like Dorne to you, you freckled fool? Why don't you hop out back to the lemon trees and pick us a bushel? And some nice olives and pomegranates, too. She shook a finger at him. Now, I suppose I could cook it with Lem's cloak, if you like, but not till it's hung for a few days. You'll eat rabbit, or you won't eat. Roast rabbit on a spit would be quickest if you've got a hunger, or it might be you'd like it stewed with ale and onions. For me, Elaine thought as they wheeled it out, Sweet Robin loved lemon cakes too, but only after she told him that they were her favorite. The cake had required every lemon in the Vale, but Peter had promised he would send to Dorne for more. Right? So, anyway.
Yeah.
A second rival High King of Dorne also existed during the times of the First Men, ruling from a great wooden Motte Bailey castle on the south bank of Greenwood near Lemonwood, where the river flows into the summer sea. This was a curious kingship. Whenever a king died, his successor was chosen by election from amongst a dozen noble families that had settled along the river or the eastern shores. The Wades, Shells, Holts, Brooks, Halls, Lakes, Brown Hills, and Briars all threw up kings who ruled from the high hill amongst the lemon trees. But in the end, this curious system broke down when a disputed election set the royal houses to warring against one another. After a generation of conflict, 3 of the old houses were wiped from the earth, and the once powerful river realm had shattered into a dozen quarrelsome petty kingdoms. Lemons? Pod said hopefully. A purple field strewn with lemons? For House Dalt? Of Lemonwood. Only 3 leagues of coast road divided Sunspear from the water gardens, yet they were 2 different worlds. Their children frolicked naked in the sun. Music played in tiled courtyards, and the air was sharp with the smell of lemons and blood oranges. Here, the air smelled of dust, sweat, and smoke. The nights were alive with the babble of voices. In place of the pink marble of the water gardens, Sunspear was built from mud straw and colored brown and dung. The ancient stronghold of House Martell stood at the easternmost end of a little jut of stone and sand, surrounded on 3 sides by the sea. To the west, in the shadows of Sunspear's massive walls, Mud brick shops and windowless hovels clung to the castle like barnacles to a galley's hall. Stables and inns and wine sinks and pillow houses had grown up west of those, many enclosed by walls of their own, and yet more hovels had risen beneath those walls. And so, and so, and so, as the bearded priests would say. Compared to Tyrosh or Mur or Great Norvos, the Shadow City was no more than a town. Yet it was the nearest thing to a true city that these Dornish had. We're almost there, Your Grace, Garen told Marcella cheerfully, and when they spied more sandbeggars up ahead, a thicket of them growing all around the dry bed of a stream. The sun was beating down like a fiery hammer. It did not matter with the journey at its end. They stopped to water the horses again, drink deep from their skins and wet their veils, then mounted for the last push. Within half a league, they were riding over devil grass and past olive groves. Beyond a line of stony hills, the grass grew greener and more lush, and there were lemon orchards, watered by a spider's web of old canals. Garen was the first to spy the river glimmering green. He gave a shout and raced ahead. Well, some believe that this overabundance of lemon trees being linked to Dorne means that Dany's house with the red door was actually located there instead of Braavos. We'll talk about this later when we discuss some of the potential mothers for Dany. We can at least establish, however, that Braavos is indeed too far north to grow lemons, based on all the quotes that say that lemons come from places like Dorne, Marine, Lys, Mur, and Old Volantis. If you look on a map, all of these places are not only very far south of Braavos, they're also all on or about the same latitude as one another. There's a very clear area of the world that grows lemon trees, and Braavos is nowhere near this. And furthermore, to put a notion to rest the idea that Braavos could grow lemon trees, here's how Littlefinger's lands are described. Off the bow of the Merling King stretched a bare and stony strand, windswept, treeless, and uninviting. Even so, it made a welcome sight. They had been a long while clawing their way back on course. The last storm had swept them out of sight of land, and sent such waves crashing over the sides of the galley that Sansa had been certain they were all going to drown. 2 men had been swept overboard, she had heard old Oswell saying, and another had fallen from the mast and broken his neck. A little wine will be good for that. We'll get you a cup as soon as we're ashore. Peter pointed to where an old flint tower stood outlined against a bleak gray sky, the breakers crashing on the rocks beneath it. Cheerful, is it not? I fear there's no safe anchorage here. We'll put ashore in a boat. What's the history of House Salt? There is no info on Jelani. What's the history of House Dalt? Yeah, I don't know that we have a whole lot of history on Leavenwood and House Dalt. I feel like it's deliberately secret from us. Of course,
there's only so much room for world building that we don't have it all.
Oh yeah, there's that too. But I think Leavenwood is kind of planted there as something for people to look at, while the actual clues point to Tyrosh. That's exactly the same.
This is a Tyroshi accent.
Here's a Tyroshi accent.
Right.
My tongue may be Tyroshi, but I am from Sunset Kingdoms. Or from Westeros, the Sunset Kingdoms, whatever it is. They're exactly the same as Braavos, cold, overcast, uninviting, and treeless. And if you look at a map once again, Littlefinger's Keep and Braavos are roughly the same latitude. They follow the same latitude and have the exact same climate. And as one of the above, lemons come from Dorne quotes proves, the Vale can't grow lemons and instead imports them from Dorne. For me, Elaine thought as they will, he just repeats the same quote. So if the Vale cannot grow lemon trees and Littlefinger's Keep is in the Vale and it shares not only the same latitude as Braavos, but also the exact same climate and geography, then Braavos can't grow lemons either. Wherever Dany's house with the red door was, most assuredly was not Braavos, as Braavos can't possibly grow the lemon tree that Dany says was outside her room. Jeremy himself has recently noted this is a great observation by the user, Victorian Chainbreaker, while corresponding with the user in a private message. Dany remembers the lemon tree outside the house with the red door in Braavos, but citrus trees really shouldn't grow in the Braavos cold, boggy climate. Is this discrepancy significant? Does it point to future revelations about Dany's past? Thank you so much. Very perceptive of you. Yes, it does point to, well, that would be telling. And he puts a quote to the image. Quite clearly, there is supposed to be a mystery about Dany's memory of the lemon tree from Braavos. Jerome put this here, but this does not make sense on purpose, much as we've seen likewise already that Dany's past doesn't make much sense. a discrepancy in a long list of them, and it's seemingly done on purpose, according to the author. The lemon tree isn't the only oddity about the house with the red door. There's also the fact that Danny dreams of fields as being located with the house with the red door. Yeah, this etymology for door, Hebrew letter from Proto-Semitic dalt, door, which links to the Hebrew letter name, all that. Okay.
Thank you.
Quite clearly, there's supposed to be a mystery about Danny's memory of the lemon tree from Bravo. Oh, yeah, I did that. The lemon tree is the only oddity, the fields, yeah. Door loomed before her, the red door, so close, so close. The hall was a blur around her, the cold receding behind. Now the stone was gone, and she flew across the Dothraki sea, high and higher, the green rippling beneath, and all that lived and breathed fled in terror from the shadow of her wings. She could smell home, she could see it. There, just beyond the door, green fields and great stone houses and arms to keep her warm. There, she threw open the door. Once more, this is just utterly incompatible with Bravos, seen as Bravos is a city of stone with no nearby vegetation and certainly not green fields of it. The city had seemed like one big island from where the Titan stood, but as Yorko rode them closer, she saw that it was many small islands close together, linked by arched stone bridges that spanned innumerable canals. Beyond the harbor, she glimpsed streets of gray stone houses, built so close they leaned one upon the other. To Arya's eyes, they were queer-looking, 4 and 5 stories tall and very skinny, with sharp-peaked tile roofs like pointed hats. She saw no thatch, and only a few timbered houses of the sort she knew in Westeros. They have no trees, she realized. Bravos is all stone, a gray city in a green sea. Well, some propose that while Dany's house at the Red Door may not conventionally fit Bravos, but could fit the Sea Lord's palace, which is located in Bravos, due to the fact that semi-official maps of Bravos depict the palace as having stretches of grass. The Sea Lord could grow a lemon tree in a glass garden if he possessed one. There's a few problems with this. Dany dreams of fields of grass. A stretch of grass is not a field. Dany makes no mention of any glass garden. She just says there was a lemon tree outside her window. Nor does the Sea Lord Palace ever have a glass garden in any descriptions of it. But perhaps the most damning thing of all is that Dany equates her life in the house with the red door as a life of simplicity. What is it? She cried as Eerie shook her gently by the shoulder. It was the black of night outside. Something is wrong, she knew at once. Is it Dario? What's happened? In her dream, they'd been man and wife, simple folk who lived a simple life in a tall stone house with a red door. In her dream, he had been kissing her all over, her mouth, her neck, her breasts. Yes, Dany says that they had servants at the house with the red door, and I'll touch on that in the next part of the essay. The fact remains is that Dany dreams of a house with a red door and simple folk with simple lives. A few servants does suggest a tad more than just a simple life, but definitely not the Sea Lord of Bravos and the complicated life that comes with that. Sea Lord's palace lacks the green fields, the lemon tree, and the simplicity. It doesn't fit at all beyond the fact that it happens to be located in Bravos, and that Darry happened to sign a marriage pact for Viserys, and again, not Dany or anything to do with Dany or her storyline. The Sea Lord as witness. It just doesn't remotely fit. Dany's house was with and at least one of the parties there was traveling, and Dany just assumes that it's in Bravos. Anyway, Dany's house with the red door simply does not fit in Bravos. It's quite clear that Dany does not know where the house actually was, and has never actually been to Bravos herself. Her memories, as they do so often, completely clash with other things found in the novels about the same place. The oddities surrounding Dany's house with the red door are enormous, and they don't just stop with that lemon tree that couldn't exist in Bravos, or the rolling fields of grass that couldn't exist in a city of stone, or everything else. They also include just exactly what happens while Dany lived in this house. And do you want to stop with that there?
Yeah. I got a thing. Most of the information that Dany has about her youth, we chalk up to her brother. So her information that the House of the Red Door being in Bravos, we chalk that up to her brother too, just telling her the wrong place.
Probably. It's not clear that she was with Viserys there.
Yeah,
She doesn't have any memories of him.
Right. I mean, they're saying
there.
early memories, 4 years old, roughly. But I mean, there's not exact.
You don't bring a lot of your pre-pubescent memories through puberty.
Right. So I mean, I like the idea that they weren't together. That in my mind, for our theory, that fits even better.
Yeah. I question, like, she says that the House with the Red Door was never home to him, and I know it's supposed to mean that he didn't feel like it was their home because he was so obsessed with Westeros. But I do wonder if George is being sneaky there. He likes
Right.
he likes to throw in other things by saying things, right?
Right.
That you look back on and be like, oh, right. So it would give that nice oh moment if it turned out that the Viserys wasn't even there. I'm going to see if I can
So,
find that.
okay, on the not to just jump to completely different. Just take the wild leap and say that my theory of who Tormund is completely wrong, which is impossible. I'm dead right on it. Um, the Sir Willem Derry and four loyal men would be, if the theory is correct, Sir Willem Dustin or Lord Willem Dustin and the four other men that aren't accounted for in the theories of who survived the Tower of Joy, because the way Order of the Green Hand and a lot of people put it, you have Ned, of course, Alan Reed, and you have Arthur, Gerald, and Oswald, which is Mance, um, Corn Halfhand, and Tormund, and then that would leave Lord Willem Dustin, and then four other men. I forget their names. That would be the Willem in her story of Sir Willem. She says Derry could be Dustin, and then four loyal men would be Lord Willem Dustin and the other four men that were at the Tower of Joy. That nobody died at the Tower of Joy. That just all had something they needed to do. But that just leaves me. Okay, if it is that, if it is those five guys with Danny, Ned gets John because he was born there, or John through a swap, and then Arthur and the other two would be Val, correct? Arthur,
That makes
Gerald,
sense.
and Oswald would be well. I know the theory of the Oswald being
Oswald taking Danny to, or maybe not. Maybe it's not Oswald. Maybe Oswald takes to Davos, and Davos takes Danny to Rhaella and Viserys or something.
Okay. Well, that kicks out the Willem and the loyal men.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just something I thought of. I mean, I know somebody had mentioned that Willem Derry.
He's talked through various combinations that he thinks it could be.
Yeah. I know we had a couple of minutes left, so I was just brain farting out the ideas.
Here. So I found the So Speak Martin search engine. Maybe I can send that to you. But what did we want to search for? John and John's birthday.
Yeah, the quote between John and Danny's birth. I want to say it's 8 or 9 months, but close enough not to matter or whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a question about whether they were the same age or whatever, right? I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly. I'm not sure what exactly to search for that one.
Well, I'll try to look it up.
First, I typed John Danny birth, and the first thing it says mothers can name a child before birth. Who gave Jon Snow, Daenerys Targaryen, and Tyrion Lannister their names? It's the first one that comes up.
Man, some search engines, it's like rolling dice.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, that's interesting topic. Anyway.
Yeah. But if I don't look it up as soon as I get off here with you, I won't look it up. So
Christy says, in the gardens of Delaney stood a gilded tree 100 feet high with leaves of hammered silver. Very Children of the Forest coded.
Huh.
Yeah, that's interesting. And Arya is kind of Children of the Forest coded, and she's our Bravos character too. So that could be deliberate for that reason. All right, time to wrap up. So
Okay.
I'll shoot you this. I'll shoot you this. I don't know what good it'll do us, but
Hey, I went and started to bring my tablet in to where I could help look up things, and today I forgot it. So my bad. I'll try to remember it with my memory. Friday, but and
that's tomorrow.
Friday we're doing. Oh yeah, tomorrow.
Enjoy the
And
rest
not
of your
doing
day,
anything.
says Tress. Hammer the Water is good too. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Could see that hammered silver and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it the Silver Leaves as Soul? Huh.
All right. I sent you a link.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody joining us today. We appreciate it, and we'll see y'all here tomorrow. Y'all
Sounds
have fun.
good.
Take care. And bye.
Epilogue. Epilogue.
Epilogue.
Bye.
Bye, Reggie. Bye,
Bye,
Jack.
deck of cards.
Deck of cards. Yeah.